What is up, YouTube family? It's Andrea here at VW Family Farm, and I just wanted to spend a few minutes with y'all and talk to you about last year's garden and give you a little recap on just a few of the things we loved that definitely will have a spot in our garden going forward. I've been sitting here looking, and Ben has too, through this whole seed catalog. Now, I know a lot of people have really fancy ways of marking pages. This is literally just torn up paper. That's just my style. It was laying beside me when I was sitting in the chair looking at this a few minutes ago. And so I marked a few spots and thought, you know what? I want to share with y'all what we really loved in case you're fixing to place a seed order. So this, like I said, is the whole seed catalog. We also got the little bit smaller book as well, and they're both great. If you cannot afford the whole seed catalog, just sign up and get the free one. It's good too, and it'll give you something to look at and somewhere to start. The main thing is just be looking and planning for next year's garden, no matter what. No matter where you get your seeds, get out there and get you a garden planted, because it's so much more than just gardening. To me, it's mental health and physical exercise and just joy, and then harvesting the vegetables and canning them is just such a sense of productiveness that I just need that in my life. I need goals and I need work to do so that I feel productive, and it just keeps me going. I enjoy it. People are wired differently, and that's just how I am. So even if you want something very small, I encourage you to be reading books, watching videos, and just getting ready to plan at least a few things, because I bet you won't regret it. But I want to spend today and tell you a few of the things that we loved from last year. And also in the next couple videos, we are going to give away a couple of these whole seed catalogs along with a gift certificate for you to use and to purchase some things out of this. So be watching for that. That's coming really soon. But first off, I want to just go through here and literally just share with you some of the things we really loved and why, and maybe there's something you might want to grow. The first thing is this. It's called the Borlato di Vignovano Nano. It's this pink bean right here. It was a bush bean, and it was a great shell bean. We really loved it. It produced really well. You can also do those for snap beans. I used them more for a shell bean where we left them on longer and they got full of big beans inside, and they're just delicious. They were beautiful, and they just grew a lot of beans, and we will definitely probably be growing those again. And while we're talking beans, down here, this is, okay, I just got to confess to y'all before I go any further. I'm not like someone who's super interested in just growing things for beauty. I do grow things for beauty, and I love all the flowers and the blooms on the vegetables and everything. Those are beautiful to me. But at the same time, at the end of the day, I also have to grow some things for production, because I am into canning and stocking up our food in our pantry and growing enough food for us for a year. We've been doing that for several years, and you just can't ever slack off on that, or you just won't have it. We have had years where, like, say, tomatoes wouldn't produce as well, and thankfully I had gotten enough the year before that it was okay. I didn't have to push it as hard and can as much that next year, and that's a nice break every once in a while. But if you're growing for production and you're into food storage and canning and things, you do have to eventually grow some things that just produce well. They might not be what people would call the most beautiful thing in the garden or whatever, but they are productive. And that's what this is for me. That's just the classic Roma green bean. They grow like a big flat green bean. They're actually green, some of them are not. And it's just good. It's dependable. It does good all the time in our garden, so that will always have a place in my garden. Along with, I also like the contender and the green bean, because those are very productive as well. Now, this was something cool we grew this year, and it was super productive. This Chinese red noodle bean. It grew so many of these. They were awesome looking. We had so much fun just playing with them, holding them up. They look just like a snake. They're really cool. They're good to just chop up and put in stir fries and things like that. So those were pretty cool. I will probably grow those again. I don't know about every single year, but they definitely are a keeper for the sometimes. Okay, so this was on Baker Creek's book last year. This is the Ruby Buckwheat, and we grew this for our bees. So if you're looking to grow something for pollinators, this is a great one. It's beautiful. It really did have these beautiful, vibrant colored blooms, and the bees loved it. We love buckwheat honey, and when we're actually growing buckwheat out here, we can go outside and it just smells like honey in the air. It's really cool, and it was just neat to find something to mix in with the traditional buckwheat, which blooms white. So we will probably grow that again as well. Now, I'm by no means giving you an overview of every area or everything that we grew in the garden, every type of vegetable. I'm just hitting the highlights of some things that that stood out to us that we really did love. Next thing is this Tokyo green cucumber. So I hope y'all can see that. We grew that because it is more of a longer type cucumber. It's not the short like ones that you would pickle with. I'm not saying that you can't pickle with them, but they're better for slicing. And the number one reason we grew them is because they're never bitter, no matter how big they get. And if you live anywhere where there's much heat, you have dealt with bitter cucumbers, I would just about guarantee it, and there's nothing grosser than biting into a bitter cucumber. Now, on that same note, I do grow pickling cucumbers, but I just wanted to mention that one because they're super good for salads and just things where you're eating them fresh. I don't think they would pickle that well. I think they would be too soft. So I'd probably go with something more like a Boston pickling cucumber for pickling. That's what I usually grow. Okay, this next thing was the hit of my summer. I love this stuff. Jarrett Baker Creek introduced us to this in his greenhouse when we visited up there. It's Mizuna. You can see it here in this picture. It's being held upside down by like a root wad. It's awesome. It's great for salads as well as stir fries. And down here is actually called summer Mizuna. That's because it's very heat tolerant. So if you're like us and in the summer you can't even grow lettuce because it will just bolt before you ever get to harvest any, Mizuna is a really good thing to grow in the summers and keep yourself with fresh greens to have for salads. Okay, just a couple more things and I am going to wrap this highlight video up. The purple and the red kohlrabi from Baker Creek. We actually went to Baker Creek, their website years ago before we ever knew that much about their company or anything, because we could get cool stuff like this kohlrabi. This is the delicacy white and the early purple Vienna. We'd never even grown kohlrabi before, and we just perused their website and picked some stuff out. And we thought, you know what, are these heirloom seeds even gonna grow? And they just blew our mind when we finally got our seeds and got them planted and started harvesting. Yes, heirloom seeds will grow. Heirlooms will produce, and it's just amazing. It's a beautiful thing to get into, so I encourage you to give it a try. If all you've ever grown is hybrids, just give heirlooms a try. Even if you're not willing to devote your whole garden to them, just try a few things, and I bet you they will blow your socks off at just how good the vegetables are. Their flavor is outrageous because they've not been crossed to like resist this or that. They're just pure. I can't say enough about them, and you can just get rare things that you're not going to find at the vegetable stand at the supermarket. So I encourage you, just start looking around at heirlooms. Also, this lettuce right here, I loved it this year. It was my first year to grow it. It's called Merlot Lettuce, and it's a keeper for sure. It's good, and it is so beautiful. That picture almost doesn't even do it justice. It's so deep burgundy. It's just awesome. Okay, down here at the bottom, this is called bowling red okra. It's long and thin and really red. As you can see, I went with a lot of red and purple vegetables this year, and it was awesome. Kevin and Sarah, we visited them earlier in the summer, and they had a jar of just okra sitting in their house. And I said, well, how'd y'all do that? Because it was so good. They said, we just dehydrated it. I said, yeah, but like with what? Salt, oil, spices? They said, no, literally just chop it up and dehydrate it. So I did that with that bowling red okra. Oh, it's so good. I can't even describe to you what it does to the okra, but it's almost like eating a crunchy, like piece of candy or something. It's just a really good crunch, and it was just really good. So I will definitely be growing that okra again. This was my first year to grow the Magnolia Blossom Tendril pea, and I just cannot describe how beautiful they are in the garden. You see these flowers in this picture, and they're just as beautiful growing in your garden. They just had a lot of color. They were fun to look at, and they grew up a trellis. I didn't have an arch trellis. I had some fence posts, and I had a flat trellis, and they grew all the way to the top and kept growing. They were standing up probably 10 or 12 feet tall, and they were just gorgeous. People could see them from the road, and people would comment to me about the peas, and they just bloomed like crazy. They produced like crazy. They had a great flavor, so I'll definitely have those again. All right, look at this cute picture in their book. This is the Nota Pinot, and we loved this. This was like an awesome discovery, and everyone that I've talked to loved it that grew it this year. They said it flew off the shelves at farmers markets. We don't sell our vegetables. We just harvest them and put them up for our family. But these things are awesome. They're really not hot. Now, if you plant them by something hot, we've done that before and ran the risk of peppers that weren't hot turning hot, but we made sure not to do that this year. And these were super mild, but they still had the flavor of a jalapeno. You'd bite into it and expect the heat to come, and it just didn't. They're good, especially if you have a sensitive stomach or you just don't like heat. So those were a hit. And one of the last few things I'm going to show you, the lemon squash. We love this. It's had a place in our garden for a few years now, and I will continue to grow it. It's really good. It keeps growing even after the other squashes have been decimated by bugs. It's usually still standing there, and we just love it. It's cute, it's fun, and it's good. All right, 2 more things. I'm wrapping this up. This right here was a surprise of this season. This is the Buttercup squash. It's really, really good. It's very beautiful, and also it produced really well. I got a ton of these things, and they're really good. I took one of them and made a whole pot of soup, a big pot, so they're really tasty. You could take them and scoop the seeds out and stuff them with a meat and onion and garlic mixture, sprinkle some cheese on top. You could roast it and then make a sweet side dish with some honey or maple syrup or something mixed in. It was actually bred as a replacement for sweet potatoes, and that's exactly what it's like. It's really, really delicious, and I feel like we made a good discovery there, and that will have a place in the garden. Okay, and last but not least, the surprise of this season for me on tomatoes were the Amish Paste. I don't know if you grew those, but ours got enormous. I'm talking like they were this big, and they were delicious. And I was looking for a paste tomato to make sauces and pastes and spaghetti sauce and things like that. And it delivered. It was just what I was looking for. And like I told you at the beginning, I was looking for something to meet the needs that I was looking for in canning and food preservation, and it did just that. I've heard other people say they've been disappointed with those in the past, and maybe we will be in the future, but for this year, they delivered, and they were awesome. So that's a few of our favorites from this year's garden, the garden of 2019. And so we're starting to look forward to the garden of 2020, and I'm gonna share with you on the next video some things that we are planning to plant in the garden that'll be new to us, and maybe share with you some old favorites that I didn't mention in this video. All right, so be watching for us to go live towards the end of the week. This is Christmas week, so the video schedule will probably be a little different. Just be watching for us to go live, because we are going to give some stuff away to you guys. We are going to give away a couple of these whole seed catalogs along with the gift certificate for you to do some shopping once you get your book. So be watching for that. Be brushing up on our old videos, because it will most likely involve trivia questions. So we'll see how well you know us. So be watching for that. We'd love to give some of you some stuff. That's more fun than getting stuff, isn't it? So I hope you all have a very, very Merry Christmas and are blessed and safe and healthy and all those things. We appreciate you guys. You are truly a gift to us by watching our videos and the kind comments. Thank you so much for all the support you've given us when we lost Gracie. That means so much to us. and we will see y'all later. God bless.